Tonight, breaking news. The new cross-country storm's taking aim as the Northeast digs out from an icy winter blast. The unprecedented security at the Super Bowl as President Trump touches down in New Orleans. What he just said about new tariffs and defending Elon Musk. First tonight, millions bracing for those new storms set to slam the East Coast as the region digs out from a winter blast, more than a foot of snow in some areas. New York City with its biggest snowfall of the season, Boston getting nearly half a foot, creating treacherous travel conditions. Our weather team timing it all out. The White House blasts the role of the courts, the vice president saying judges can't control the president's power. President Trump arriving in New Orleans, the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl. What he said tonight about Elon Musk and the race to reshape the federal government. Plus the news just coming in, what the president just said about new tariffs. Selina Wang standing by at the White House. The unprecedented security operation underway in New Orleans right now for Super Bowl 59. With the president in attendance, law enforcement on the ground and in the skies. And it comes just weeks after a deadly terror attack. Our team in New Orleans tonight. The new images just coming in, thieves targeting egg shipments with prices soaring to record highs. The shortages across the country amid new concerns about the spread of bird flu. The search for answers in the deadly plane crash in Alaska. Tonight, we're hearing from relatives and friends of some of the 10 people killed. A major explosion at a manufacturing plant in Pennsylvania. 11 people injured, including 4 firefighters. The new recall tonight, 2 million baked goods recalled over fears of listeria contamination. And back on the air, the legendary Dick Vitale makes his triumphant return to the broadcast booth. He's America strong.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us on this busy Sunday. I'm Rachel Scott in for Lindsay Davis. President Trump making news just moments ago, what he just said about new tariffs. But we do begin tonight with multiple cross-country winter storms taking aim. More than 18 million people are now on alert from North Carolina to New Jersey. It comes as millions are digging out from the biggest snowfall of the season here in New York City. Snow in Massachusetts making for treacherous driving conditions with multiple accidents and spinouts. More than 8 inches falling in some parts of that state. And later this week, the I-95 corridor, including Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and Boston, now facing a parade of storms with more rain and snow in the forecast. ABC meteorologist Somara Theodore leads us off tonight.
Tonight, that powerful, fast-moving winter storm unleashing heavy snow across the Northeast, more than a foot falling in some areas.
You got to take it slow. A little slippery out there. Yeah, it came down pretty quick.
In New York City, the biggest snowfall of the season, more than 3 inches of heavy, wet snow accumulating. Accidents across the storm zone. In Bourne, Massachusetts, a tow truck operator retrieving this vehicle after it went off the roadway. In Danbury, Connecticut, this morning, we met Jason Brown, clearing the snow off his car, preparing for a 70-mile drive to Queens.
Did you know it was coming?
Yeah, I know it's coming, not a lot. Didn't know it was going to be like this much.
You didn't?
Yeah.
And back in Massachusetts, a race to clear sidewalks in New Bedford. Boston getting more than 5 inches, its biggest snowfall in 3 years. At Logan Airport, more than 450 flights delayed or canceled, more than 3,500 nationwide. That system striking the Midwest yesterday, blanketing Minneapolis in snow. The area now facing another Arctic blast. Temperatures not expected to rise above freezing for at least the next week.
So let's get right to Somara Theodore. And Somara, you're tracking multiple storms, the East Coast facing even more this week.
That's correct, Rachel. Right now, in fact, they've already issued a winter storm watch for places like Washington, D.C., into the Delmarva Peninsula, southern New Jersey, much of West Virginia, and as far south as Roanoke. This is for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Now, this storm that will bring this wintry weather to the mid-Atlantic actually originates Monday in Texas, bringing heavy rain to the southeast. By Wednesday at 4 a.m., we could see up to 6 inches of snow in Washington, D.C., and this system could brush New York City. New York City and New England, though, will certainly get hit by the second storm moving in on Thursday. That Thursday morning commute at 6 a.m. could bring heavy snow to places like Syracuse and Boston, while bringing more rain to the south, which could in fact lead to flooding. Rachel?
More rain and snow on the way. All right, Somara, thank you. We turn now to Washington and the late news from President Donald Trump saying he will announce new tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. The president also defending Elon Musk, who is pushing forward with plans to shrink the size of the federal government amid a series of lawsuits. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selina Wang.
The night before touching down for the Super Bowl on Air Force One, President Trump announcing he plans to impose 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports, including from Canada and Mexico.
I'll be announcing probably Tuesday or Wednesday at a news conference reciprocal tariffs, and very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them.
It's the latest news from the White House after a day of blasting judges who are pumping the brakes on Trump and Elon Musk's latest attempts to shrink the size of the federal government. Vice President J.D. Vance disputing their judicial authority, writing, "Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power." Senator Adam Schiff firing back. "JD, we both went to law school, but we don't have to be lawyers to know that ignoring court decisions we don't like puts us on a dangerous path to lawlessness." Elon Musk, now head of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, calling for those federal judges to be impeached, writing, "It's time," and that the one who paused his department's access needs to be impeached now. Trump in a Super Bowl Sunday interview on Fox defending Musk.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military.
The Trump administration's rebuke of the courts coming after a judge temporarily blocked DOJ's access at the Department of Treasury. Millions of Americans' sensitive information, like Social Security and bank account details, kept out of reach after 19 states sued. And USAID's future now in limbo after another federal judge halted plans to place thousands of its workers on leave at the relief agency that provides food to millions of malnourished children around the world.
So this is a disaster, not just from a humanitarian standpoint, from the standpoint of all the beneficiaries who may in fact die because they won't have access to U.S. resources, but it's a disaster for U.S. national interests and national security.
And overnight, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, a government watchdog charged with safeguarding consumers' finances, ordered to cease all supervision and examination activity. The day before, Musk tweeting CFPB RIP. The move's happening even though only Congress has the power to shut down federal agencies. All of this after the White House offered more than 2 million federal employees a buyout last month in a mass email, asking them to resign in exchange for pay and benefits through September.
It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer.
And Rachel, labor unions and Democrats are warning federal workers not to accept the deal, saying that the administration won't be able to pay them out because Congress has not approved the funds. So far, more than 65,000 workers have accepted that offer, Rachel. And Selina, one more question for you tonight on the news that you just reported. The president telling reporters he plans to announce new tariffs. What more are you learning tonight? That's right. President Trump said he's planning to announce 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. He also said he's planning to announce reciprocal tariffs next week. So that means matching the duties that other countries impose on American products. But economists are warning that tariffs are taxes on consumers by raising the price of goods. Rachel? Selina Wang tracking multiple headlines from the White House tonight. All right, Selina, thank you. We turn now to the unprecedented security in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. Law enforcement is typically on high alert, but there's even more protection this year with President Trump attending, the first time for a sitting president. More now from ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, President Donald Trump making history, arriving in New Orleans this afternoon to watch the Kansas City Chiefs face off against the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome, becoming the first sitting commander-in-chief to attend a Super Bowl, with the president joining an estimated 125,000 visitors to the city for the biggest spectacle in sports. Signs of heightened security are everywhere.
I definitely feel like the security's been really on point today. It's the police in force, the National Guard. Everything looks like they're really taking it very seriously.
Authorities say preparations for the game began at least a year ago, but took on new urgency after the deadly New Year's Day terror attack in the French Quarter. A Texas man driving a truck bearing an ISIS flag into a crowd of revelers on Bourbon Street, killing 14 people and injuring dozens more. As tonight's party gets started, there are more than 2,700 law enforcement officers on the ground.
everybody brought a little bit more to the table so that we can make sure this is the most safe and secure Super Bowl ever.
And Rachel, NFL officials say the Superdome will be the safest place this weekend. We've seen Secret Service agents at media screening checkpoints, police drones also flying above us, and AI tools are monitoring and scanning for threats in real time. Measures that will likely stick around beyond the game and through Mardi Gras. Rachel?
Morgan Norwood reporting from New Orleans tonight. Morgan, thank you. Next tonight, new concerns about the bird flu. The new images coming in with egg prices soaring to record highs and shortages nationwide. The new heist in Seattle just days after 100,000 eggs were stolen in Pennsylvania. Here's ABC's Ike Ejiochi.
Tonight, as the bird flu outbreak sends the price of eggs to record highs, more evidence that the grocery staple is becoming an attractive target for thieves. New surveillance video showing two suspects entering a refrigerated shed behind a Seattle cafe in the middle of the night, loading hundreds of dollars worth of eggs and other breakfast foods into a white van before fleeing the scene. This comes as police are investigating another theft in Pennsylvania earlier this month, this one targeting a distribution facility for Pete and Jerry's eggs, where thieves were able to get away with 100,000 eggs worth approximately $40,000, leading the company to beef up security.
If it happened once, it could happen again, so we are putting additional measures in place.
In just the last month, more than 20 million birds have been impacted by bird flu across the country, creating a nationwide egg shortage as infected flocks are culled and their eggs destroyed to control the spread of the virus. The bird flu also infecting animals inside two iconic New York City zoos. 3 ducks at the Queens Zoo and as many as 12 birds at the Bronx Zoo are believed to have died from the virus, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society, which operates the parks. The organization releasing a statement. As a precaution over the last 2 weeks, we moved vulnerable bird species to protected areas in our parks. Our veterinarians and curators continue to closely monitor the situation in the region and are collaborating with city, state, and federal agencies. The news following Governor Kathy Hochul's order temporarily shuttering all live bird markets in the city and surrounding suburban communities.
There is no immediate public health threat. We have been vigilant and will remain vigilant so New Yorkers can go about their lives with peace of mind.
Rachel, according to the CDC, 67 people have been infected in the U.S., most coming in contact with sick or dead animals, and officials saying there still has been no human-to-human spread of the virus. Rachel?
All right, Ike, thank you. Next tonight, the air tragedy in Alaska. The bodies of 10 people killed, now recovered and identified. Family and friends speaking out about their loved ones as investigators try to figure out what exactly happened. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
As investigators work to determine what brought down that passenger plane in Alaska that left 10 people dead, tonight we're hearing from friends and family members of the victims. 34-year-old Delalu Kachatag, a tribal member of the native village of Unalakleet, was on board. His sister, heartbroken.
TK loved the country. He loved being on a snow machine. He loved being in a boat.
Troopers identifying all 10 victims this weekend. Among them, 52-year-old Leanne Ryan, a retired teacher who worked for the Alaska State Mentor Project. Nome Public Schools honoring her on Facebook, writing, "She had such a cheerful and bubbly personality and dedicated her post-retirement life to growing new teachers and encouraging them through those first incredibly tough years. She will be sorely missed." The Coast Guard locating the wreckage of that Bering Air single-engine plane on ice in the Bering Sea Friday, 34 miles southeast of its intended destination in Nome. Authorities say it vanished off radar about 40 minutes into the flight in bad weather.
The NTSB knows that villages like Nome and Alaska Aviation are tight-knit communities, so this tragedy affects so many.
Rachel, this is now the third major aviation incident in a week that the NTSB is investigating. Officials there emphasize it is safe to fly. Rachel.
Heartbreaking for those families. Jacqueline, thank you. Overseas now, and to the reports that the newly freed Israeli hostages were abused during 16 months in captivity, appearing thin and frail. So let's bring in ABC's Britt Clennett in Tel Aviv tonight. And Britt, what more are you learning about those hostages?
Rachel, those families of the 3 hostages released this weekend now describing how the men endured horrific conditions. You can see them there, Ohad Ben-Ami, Eli Sharabi and Or Levy, looking frail and gaunt as they were handed over from Hamas to the Red Cross in Gaza. Now, Or Levy's brother, he said they were subjected to physical and psychological abuse, adding that he doesn't think the remaining hostages will actually survive the conditions any longer. Sharabi and Levy only discovering after they were released that their loved ones were murdered in the October 7th attack. Now, there are still 6 Americans held captive by Hamas in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu returning home tonight after his meeting with Trump in D.C., praising the president's revolutionary, creative vision for Gaza, a nod to Trump's bombshell proposal to clear out the Palestinians there, something outrightly rejected by Palestinian authorities. It comes as Israeli forces withdrew from a strategic corridor in Gaza, allowing Palestinians to move freely there for the first time, many returning to staggering devastation. Now, negotiators are working to get this current ceasefire to phase 2. Rachel?
All right, Britt, thank you. And there's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday. The mystery behind the closure of a popular Florida beach, what was found washing ashore, and a major explosion rocks a manufacturing plant in Pennsylvania. Those details just ahead. Next tonight, officials are investigating a massive explosion at a manufacturing plant in northeastern Pennsylvania. 11 people, including 4 firefighters, were injured. First responders from several different counties were called in to battle the flames. Officials say the blast caused major damage to the plant. Residents were told to shelter in place. And officials in Fort Lauderdale are keeping a close eye on the city's coastline. This weekend, beaches were closed for a time after balls of tar were spotted on the shoreline. Swimmers were told to stay away. Other beaches in the area also reported seeing the oily substances. The Coast Guard is now investigating. When we come back, the major recall involving baked goods because of possible listeria contaminations, dozens of different products. To the index now, a major consumer recall tonight involving 60 varieties of baked goods because of concerns over listeria contamination. About 2 million products, some were sold at Dunkin' Donuts, all were made before December 13th. There's a full list on the FDA's website. Tonight, special honors for the crew killed in that deadly crash between a commuter jet and a helicopter in Washington, D.C. All 4 crew on board given the airline's President's Award. And in Kansas, farmers paying tribute to one of their own. They lined a country road with heavy equipment in memory of Bob and Lori Chirac, husband and wife farmers who died. Businesses also closed briefly on the day of their funerals. When we come back, a sportscasting legend and his remarkable return. And finally tonight, the legendary sportscaster who is no stranger to adversity or to defying the odds.
This is awesome, baby! It was a standing ovation for one of the greatest in sports broadcasting. Legendary college basketball sportscaster Dick Vitale back on the basketball court and back behind the mic for the first time after battling 4 different cancers, including vocal cord cancer.
For over 4 decades, his passion, energy, and unmistakable voice have defined the game we love. He's back where he belongs and inspiring us all. Welcome back to college basketball, the one and only Dick Vitale.
After 5 major surgeries, 65 radiation treatments, and 6 months of chemotherapy, he was finally declared cancer-free. Last night, the 85-year-old, who has called over 1,000 games in his 45-year career, announcing a game for the first time in 2 years. And what an emotional moment it was.
With everything you've gone through, it's incredible you're back.
I just want to say thank you to all the people. I mean, the reception here has been really off the charts. I'm sorry for being so emotional, but I can't tell you how excited I am to be here.
With this message for us all.
This is like my Super Bowl, to be able to be sitting there courtside and do a game. It beats the hell out of chemotherapy and radiation. And I want to say to all cancer patients out there, please listen to me. Think positive and have faith and keep fighting and fighting and fighting.
What a special moment that was. Thank you for watching. I'm Rachel Scott. Good night.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, the most watched newscast in America, and honored with the Emmy Award, winner for Outstanding Live News Program.